My sister has a bridesmaid gone rogue. This story came October 23rd, 2015. I will preface this by saying my parents gave my sister a choice. She gets a sum of money either to pay for a wedding or to get set up with a house. Can I have your parents? Also though, it is shocking to me that anyone would want to spend that on one day of their life versus like an investment in a house. And that's just my opinion.
That's my opinion!
It's a very beautiful day, I understand. But to me, that's just crazy. The amount of, don't even get me started. We're not gonna go on a rant. Wedding culture is just wild these days. They're robbing us. They're literally robbing us. Okay, anyways. I haven't even started the story. My sister wisely chose to have the house. Oh, thank God. So her wedding is going to be a rather small affair. She is paying for it solo. I've been doing as much as I can to help with keeping her costs down, which, long story, was a lot. She asked me to be her maid of honor and our brother, one of the groomsmen. My sister has a bridesmaid who is a friend from college, Janet. I never cared for her, finding her rather rude and selfish, but it's my sister's wedding and I'm quite good at dealing with people. I ended up friending her on Facebook. The first issue between us came at the get-together my sister hosted. Janet made a pointed comment to her boyfriend in front of me, saying that she was surprised at my sister's bridesmaids, that if she was getting married, she would be sure that her bridesmaids were thin, young, and pretty. It was obviously directed at me, as Janet and the other two bridesmaids are both very thin and younger. Frankly, it didn't bother me as a dig. I'm comfortable with my appearance and age, and I'm a 22 BMI, so not an unhealthy weight. It may have been due to the fact that I'm gay and I don't go for the traditionally pretty looks. The next issue, though, came with the bridal shower. I planned it with two cousins. Janet decided at the last minute to plan a vacation over this time and convinced another bridesmaid that it was really family only and that she wasn't welcome, despite being invited. She also posted a link to a thing about the top stupidest games played at wedding showers on Facebook. If I wasn't sure this was intended maliciously towards me, I was after the bachelorette issue, which happened recently. Initially, I was told by another bridesmaid the party was going to be the 10th and that it was going to take place at a certain restaurant and club. Now, this club is literally down the street from me, and I actually own a small portion of the business. I was excited, saying that I would make sure it was amazing. A few days later, Janet messages me and tells me that the party was actually planned for the 17th and that it would be taking place at another location and involved mall shopping and a male strip club. Now, I had posted that I would be out of town on business on the 17th, and neither shopping nor a strip club appealed to me, so I said that it would be a shame and I was gonna have to miss it. The afternoon of the 10th, my sister posts on Facebook that she had just been kidnapped for her surprise bachelorette party. A bit later, one of the other bridesmaids sent me a message asking me what I could do to make the party taking place at my restaurant special. I questioned her, and she was under the impression that I had said I wasn't interested in attending the party. Obviously, Janet had actively lied to me to keep me out of the party. At this point, I could talk to my sister, but I didn't want to drum up any drama when she was already stressed out over wedding things, so I just kept quiet. It is now 3 weeks out from the wedding. Today, my sister has sent me a whole series of messages that Janet has sent her. Janet has questioned, made snarky comments, etc. over every aspect of my sister's wedding. From the choice of music, she said it was too cheesy, to the transportation, Janet wants a limo, to the order of things. She wants the first dance later in the reception. I told my sister to ignore her, that it is her wedding, and when Janet gets married, she can make her own decisions. Okay, so Janet just sucks, like as a bridesmaid and a friend. Just saying. But my sister is second guessing herself and freaking out that her low scale wedding isn't good enough. My sister has a history of anxiety disorders, so this is not a good thing for her. A week ago, she was really happy about her choices, and now she's crying and breaking down. Right now, I don't know if I should tell my sister the way that Janet has been treating me. It might make her understand that this is Janet's problem, not hers, or it could cause more issues. I honestly want to give Janet a piece of my mind, but I think that it could only make things worse for the wedding and for my sister. All I want is for my sister to have a good wedding. I don't know how to fix this issue, so that happens. Just another reason for me to hate wedding culture these days. They do say wedding brings out the worst of people, and I'll never understand why, because is it not supposed to be the happiest day of your life? Like, why do friends get in fights, and why do friends get I don't understand it, but I've heard stories in real life. Even in my own personal life, there are stories where drama has caused friendships to get ruined, friendships to be over, and I'm like, how? Why? I'll never understand it. Let's check out what some people of Reddit are saying. So someone commented and said, at this rate, if someone doesn't call Janet on her crap, she's going to pull some kind of major drama bomb at the wedding itself. Yes, tell your sister that Janet has been using the exact same nonsense on you, and the only reason you haven't said anything is that you didn't want her exposed to it. Then tell her you'll do whatever she needs you to do to be supportive. From running interface on whatever nastiness Janet tries to pull, to kicking Janet out of the bridal shower personally. But this woman is not worth a moment of second guessing her decisions over, let alone what she's doing to herself right now. So true. I don't even know if Janet should be a friend anymore. OP responded and said, I seriously doubt my sister would kick her out of the wedding party at this point. They have a ton of mutual friends and I can't see it going over well. Plus my sister is very soft and it would be totally outside of her nature unless Janet did something very over the top. If it was me, she would have been gone already. Same. Next comment, how are the other bridesmaids reacting to Janet? Do they seem aware of what's going on? Maybe all of you combined can strong arm her into behaving. At the very least, you should probably make it clear that if anyone has questions about anything, particularly anything where it looks like someone might be getting left out of the loop on an activity or a important conversation, they should come to you, so that Janet can't keep trying to divide and conquer. Don't you think they would have already though? You're the maid of honor. Usually the maid of honor, kind of has runs the stuff a little bit more. OP responded and said, as far as I know, they aren't really aware of what's going on. The bridal shower and bachelorette party were both sort of framed as mistakes, so I doubt they know or notice that I was personally snubbed. Frankly, I got the impression that Janet wanted me to make a stink so that she could feed off the drama. So by quietly not saying anything, I took that power away from her. At the same time, I eliminated my sister's stress. At the time, it seemed like a good choice, but it means now I have to explain for others to understand. I get it, you were just trying to be a good sister. Next comment, you sound like a great big sister. You did a great job of helping her out without being overbearing. Because Janet is still going to be at the wedding, tell any vendors to watch out. For instance, make sure the caterer knows that the food is great regardless of what Janet says, or make sure that the photographer knows not to let her hog the pictures and that the DJ knows that she is not making a toast, etc. You can do your best to make sure Janet doesn't ruin anything else. OP said, my brother and I are close in age and my sister is the baby. We are all three very close, but growing up, we were very overprotective of her. I'm trying not to be aggressive and make all decisions for my sister, but still keep her safe. It seems like a fine line there. I'm definitely checking with all the vendors. With the exception of the DJ and officiant, I think everything was booked through my connections, so I can do that without being out of line. We have an update, which came the next day. Everyone's suggestions pushed me over the breaking point. I met with my sister today for breakfast. She was a crying mess, second guessing everything about her wedding. I asked if this was because of Janet's comments. She said yes, and let me read all of Janet's texts and Facebook messages to her. Janet has been ripping my sister apart. I'm furious by this time, but my sister needs a big sister, not an avenging angel. I told my sister the stuff that Janet pulled on me. She was horrified and kept apologizing. Then she got angry. The next 2 hours were a fest about stuff Janet did through college. I seriously don't understand why my sister is friends with this girl. She has been universally miserable to everyone. Finally, I asked point blank if she wants to kick Janet out of the wedding party. My sister says no, and that she feels that she needs to keep her promise and that it's too late to kick her out now. My sister didn't get the same vengeful a-hole gene that I did. So I asked her, what does she want? After thinking, she says she wants Janet to just leave her alone until the wedding. Done. I can be a butch fairy godmother and make this wish come true. I take my sister's phone, I send Janet a text saying at this point, all the wedding decisions are final, so there's no sense to keep talking about them. Oh, and because my sister will be so busy between now and the wedding, all communication and messages should go through me. That's genius, actually. Then I blocked Janet's number. I sent the same message on Facebook and blocked Janet on Messenger. Then I unfollowed her feed. Finally, I sent a Facebook message and a text through my account. Afterwards, my sister just brightened back up. We ended up having a fun afternoon at a Halloween attraction. I got one message from Janet saying that she doesn't believe that my sister blocked her. There was also a passive-aggressive message on her Facebook, but at this point, my sister would have to actively seek it out. Just before writing this, I called my mother and my brother, who is a groomsman. We are all livid, but we respect my sister's decision to keep Janet in. However, we are going out of our way to make sure we pull family rank and make sure things are great for my sister. Generations of passive-aggressive people have led up to this. You don't mess with my family. I'll take any suggestions on how to block Janet from making any other issues. The fact that Janet is gonna be there on the wedding day, bothers me. And I am so not involved in this in any way, shape, or form. And it also happened a decade ago, literally. So, irrelevant. Well, we have an update, and I hope we find out what actually happens at the wedding, but we're gonna drink some water first. It's hydration station time. You know the rules. Cheers. I thrifted this pink sweater yesterday at a thrift store, and I actually filmed the whole thing. For those asking, because I keep getting comments about things from some of my vlogs on this channel, yes, I did start a second channel. It was my shorts channel, but I'm going to be posting long form content, vlogs, fun videos, more stuff in my life on there. So you're going to want to be following because I'm also shooting something really cool. It got postponed. I did tell you we were shooting on the 27th. It was postponed, but it's coming up very soon. And I'm vlogging the whole thing, so you're gonna wanna see. So make sure you're following. It's at Life with Joss. And yeah, I actually thrifted. I did a thrifting vlog, and I'm doing a haul. So yeah, just go see, go see. All right, so the next update was 3 weeks later, November 13th. The wedding was Saturday, and I thought you would all like to hear how things worked out. You thought right? Excuse me? Oh my God, I have another burp. Holy smokes! Someone pray over me because I just had an exorcism. Following everyone's suggestions from the first update, I contacted all the vendors, etc., and told them not to take any input from anyone that is not me or my sister, including the pastor, who my sister has admitted befriending and coming to for advice. He was surprisingly awesome, and I ended up telling him the whole story and got upset about things as well. A few days later, I get a call from the DJ, who says that someone else called to question some stuff about the reception, namely the timing, which I knew was a sticking point for Janet. Later, talking to the venue, they said someone talked to them. In both instances, they gave the answer that all of it should be directed to me. Meanwhile, I've been watching Janet's Facebook and found rather passive-aggressive posts that seemed to be pointed towards my sister and I. I ignored them. My sister maintained no contact. A week before the wedding, I got a text from Janet asking, what should I do with Christopher? We have 2 hours where I will be busy with pictures. He will be alone. Now, I didn't know she had a child, and I didn't think my sister had arranged any childcare, so this seemed totally like a decent question. Without thinking, I replied that I was sure there were some cousins who would be happy to babysit, and that it would be wise to pack a bag of stuff, or if he was too young to entertain himself for 2 hours. Then I messaged my sister. Christopher is Janet's boyfriend. You just told her to pack a bag of stuff to keep your boyfriend busy, or cousins will babysit. Oh my God. She's gonna think this is mocking me. Oh, that's hilarious. It was an honest mistake, but kind of hilarious. Janet didn't message me back. Before the rehearsal, I made sure Janet had the full schedule for the weekend. I sent it through text, email, and Facebook message. She responded maybe twice to the group messages that I sent. The day before the rehearsal, I sent her several texts reminding her to be at the church at 5. Of course, she wasn't there. Everyone starts talking about it, and I guessed at this point, word had gotten around that Janet was being a pain, and the general consensus was disgust and relief. The pastor and I talked, and he pulled my sister aside and said that they would make plans if Janet just wasn't there. It wasn't really a big adjustment. One groomsman would instead escort the groom's grandmother. We do a run through. The pastor calls us to do another quick run through of walking and seating. And the door's open. And there's Janet. I think she thought she was making an entrance. Instead, everyone, grandparents and parents and bridal party, are all shooting her the dirtiest of looks. The pastor, to his credit, put on his best, dripping with disdain, Professor Snape's voice and said, "You must be Janet. We thought you weren't coming," and waved for her to get in line. She seemed embarrassed and stayed very quiet. Afterwards, she tried to rather loudly claim that she had no clue what time things were. This was quickly disproven thanks to the text messages that I had saved. She is, at this point, just hanging all over my sister, sort of sniveling. We were meeting at a restaurant nearby for the rehearsal dinner. It literally was within walking distance, and most of us just wandered over. Somehow, Janet drove and managed to be late to the dinner, claiming to be lost. She ended up sitting by the groom's family. For the start of the dinner, she sat arms crossed like a child. Then she started drinking, way too much. Thankfully, she was far enough away that my sister and her husband didn't really notice her antics. As we left, I think every single person there reminded her to be at the hotel to get ready by 10, especially my brother. She kept nodding and uh-huhing. That's so hard to read. Uh-huh-ing. I sent a few texts and Facebook messages for good measure. Of course, the next day, no show. We had a hairdresser set up in the suite, and she did all of our updos, then hung around for a while before packing up. This is about when Janet finally arrived. I think my sister by this point was so done with Janet's crap that she didn't even get upset. Now, to get to this next part, you have to understand I have long hair, and I've always wear it in a tight French braid, and then it was curled into a bun. Most people never see my hair down. For the wedding, my sister wanted these Pinterest discovered loose braided hair down styles. Ooh. When she said braids though, Janet had complained that we would all look like dykes like me. So I answered the door with a rather nice hairstyle down over my shoulders, makeup professionally done, and a dress on. Janet literally has her hair wet, no makeup, and her dress in a bag. When she found out the hairstylist and makeup person was gone, she flipped out. I recommended that I could just braid my hair like I wear mine every day, and she just shot me dirty looks. Instead, Janet ended up having a half hour to basically dry her hair and put it in a ponytail. The next little thing was totally passive aggressive on my part. When my sister and I had our heart to heart, my sister admitted that Janet sold jewelry through a pyramid scheme. She had strong-armed my sister into buying a jewelry set, which she didn't terribly care for. I told her that I would take care of it. I went through a connection and I ended up renting a vintage set of jewelry, pieces far nicer than anything I could afford. On the day of the wedding, they brought it to the hotel and it brought my sister to tears. When Janet showed up at the hotel, there stood my sister glittering in diamonds instead of the plastic pieces that she coaxed her into. I knew this entered a temptation for Janet's power play. So I also contacted a guy who works at a friend's nightclub as security. The guy is quite professional and looks like he could be a male model. I paid him to just walk around, supposedly to be security for the necklace. Really though, he was there in case Janet pulled anything and to keep my sister a bit more stress-free. Also, he ended up making my sister feel like a rock star that needed security. That's so fun, your own little bodyguard. All that was left for Janet to behave like a child, which she did in spades, pouting and making photos difficult. I asked the photographer to place her at the end of the row in case my sister decides to have her edited out. Oh, brutal, but actually very smart. That's my sister's choice, but it's prepared if she so chooses. My security let me know that Janet left right after dinner at the reception. None of us even noticed. My sister lifted the blocks for Janet online on the flight for her honeymoon. She hasn't made any contact since or made any acknowledgement of the wedding or honeymoon pictures. When my sister gets back, I'll talk to her about her friendship more. Thank you everyone for your excellent suggestions and thoughts. They helped me to make my decisions and everything seemed to have worked out. For everyone but Janet, so thank God. We have some top comments. Someone said, I definitely would have thought this was about a child too. I've been bridesmaids for a few weddings where my significant other was left on his own for a while. I was initially worried about leaving him, but he told me that he would be fine just making small talk, eating the food, and having his phone. Yeah, that happens all the time. Every wedding I have stood in, yeah, with my friends, because Matt and I have separate friend groups. Matt and I were strangers when we met. Every wedding I've stood in for my friends, Matt's a guest, so he's not there. I'm on my own most of the day. I'm busy. You're fine. You're a big boy. He's got no problems with it though. Neither do I. Matt stood in weddings and I was on my own. Put me in a corner with some food, okay? I don't even need to talk to anybody. I don't gotta talk to someone. I'll talk to myself. Like, who cares? You're gonna be fine. Next comment. All of this nonsense would have been totally avoided if the sister had just kicked her out before the wedding. Well, yeah, but it's not, you know, bless her soul. Not everyone is strong enough to do that. I would have no problem with it, but. Next comment. Her sister bought pyramid scheme jewelry. She's clearly lacking in the spine department. I wonder if OP, original poster, gifting her sister actual diamonds for the day instead of Janet's crap was the cause of her leaving after dinner. Janet probably had plans to use the reception to hard sell to all the guests. Probably, actually. She's probably like, do you see her jewelry? If you want a piece of your own, let me know. Yeah, it was a good marketing day for her. Let me know your thoughts. Have you guys ever dealt with like wedding drama? Luckily, I haven't personally. So let me know your thoughts and feelings. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.